Yeah, start.
నువ్వు చెప్పు, నువ్వే ముందు అడగాలి కదా, నువ్వు ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ చేయాలి కదా, లైక్ టాపిక్. ఐ థాట్ నువ్వు టాపిక్ ముందు చెప్పు.
Hi friends. Along with us, my son is there, so he will be answering some of my questions on recession, because people are writing on my YouTube channel about their opinions and views. Vamsi Mohan from Canada and other places, whether recession is there in US, and or is there currently recession? If it is there, when will it hit the ground? Or what are the things? Is recession good or bad? Why do we need to afraid? And what is recession? So all that my son will explain. Thank you. Can you put it here? Something like that. Yeah. Go ahead.
So what we learned in business school is definition of recession is US GDP decreases for 2 consecutive quarters. So that hasn't happened just yet. But the reason people say recession might happen, this or that, is because the Federal Reserve, it's an independent agency of the United States government, has kept interest rates at the highest point, about 5.25% to 5.575%, I think, and it's the highest it has been for the past 2 decades. And that's because after the COVID pandemic, in 2021-22, when U.S. consumers had the stimulus checks and businesses were hiring rapidly, consumer spending increased rapidly, which increased inflation. So the Federal Reserve's job is to, well, it has two goals. One is to minimize or keep unemployment at a healthy level, and the other one, I think, is to keep the economy growing at a steady rate. But the problem when the economy grows too rapidly, like it has in the past 2 years, is that inflation increases rapidly, which hurts the U.S. Trade with other countries, but also just the consumer. So they keep interest rates high. And the interest rates I'm talking about specifically are is the federal funds rate. It's the Federal Reserve's main priority.
Like one bank giving loan to another bank.
Yes, right? Yes. Yeah. So when businesses take loans from a bank, say Amazon needs $1 million loan from a bank, but that bank doesn't have $1 million of deposits just sitting in its reserves. So it asks another bank, but there's interest charged on that loan it takes from that bank. So this interbanking system, there's interest rates that are influenced by the Federal Reserve. During COVID time, those interest rates were near zero because they wanted to stimulate economy.
But that interest rate is very high now.
Yes.
So what is the impact if interest rate is high?
So if interest rate is high, it's harder for Amazon to take that loan because it's more expensive.
Yeah.
And then because of that, fewer companies will take out these loans, and then there will be less money in circulation, meaning that prices will not increase as much. Yes.
Economy is slow.
They try to slow it, and like one of your subscribers said, that the Federal Reserve meets every month, and there are consumer reports and certain consumer price indices that they look at, and consumer spending has decreased a little since the last month.
Subscriber Vamsi Mohan from Canada wrote, Q3 and Q4 is expected because of he got an examples like home inventory sales down, car inventory at a dealership sales down, truck industry down, something like that.
Yes, yep. And unemployment has also increased a bit, I think, or job hirings have decreased.
But people are spending money, right?
Right.
If spending money, then but people are losing jobs, but spending money and the interest rate is high. What is this indication?
So if people are spending a lot and unemployment is increasing and interest rates are high, so
it's not an indication for recession.
No.
Is it an indication for recession?
Recession the definition is 2 negative decreases of US GDP. But the reason people say recession is because the Federal Reserve has kept interest rates high for a long time, and they haven't shown any signs of decreasing it soon. And because of that, they could be causing a recession soon. So basically there's 2 drawbacks, and it's like people might say it's a lose-lose situation, because if the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates too soon, if they keep if they decrease interest rates too soon, then they mistimed it, and then the economy will grow, will continue to grow, and then they'd have to increase it all over again. But if they decrease interest rates too late, then by that point the economy will have decreased and shrunk too fast, and at that point we would be in a recession. Is the fear of companies and regular people and people.
Another subscriber posts a question, and we post a couple of videos. John Deere moved to Mexico, and follow-up analysis. Conclusion? Question mark. Recession is not going is not going down. That means is the question is recession is on. Is recession on? Second is auto industry is the first indication that recession is going away.
Well, recession is not happening right now because consumer spending is still higher than Federal Reserve's targets. So the Federal Reserve targets 2% inflation year over year and 3% unemployment. But the US levels are still above that, so we're not in recession. In fact, the economy is still growing fast.
Is the elections will impact this decision, or a recession will impact on a recession?
Yeah, historically, the elections impact the Federal Reserve decisions because the Federal Reserve historically doesn't like to be politically involved.
Okay.
For example, we have the Democratic National Convention coming up this summer and the Republican National Convention. And the thing is, if the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates right before the Democratic Convention, then the economy will do better and people will feel better. And that will look good on the Democratic Party's behalf, but it will look bad on the Republican Party's behalf, right? But if they do the opposite, it will make the Democratic Party look bad. And in that case, the Republicans will either side, they will, one of the parties will blame the Federal Reserve, and they try
This is for internal.
and they try to remain apolitical. For example, in I think 2016, when Donald Trump was elected, the Federal Reserve was looking to change interest rates, but they did it after the election in December.
Okay.
Because they don't want to influence any electoral results.
My question is, what if President Biden? You repeat the question because I'm not sure my audio comes in. What if President Biden re-elected? What if President Biden lost elections? What is the impact on the economy and the recession?
Right. So if you're asking if whatever candidate wins, how does that impact the economy? I'm not exactly sure about that, but I do know whatever the economic state of the country is in, that will make that will look favorably or unfavorably on the economy. For example, Biden is the incumbent president right now. So if the Federal Reserve decreases interest rates, which is what people want because they're fear a recession, and if that happens, that will look good on Biden's behalf because they will say, look at the economy, it's positively growing. And this is all theoretical, but then that will look good on Biden. But if that doesn't happen, the economy will stay in this state of uncertainty where you see consumers and businesses fearing a recession, and that will look bad on Biden's behalf, even though the president doesn't necessarily influence the Federal Reserve because it's supposed to be independent agency.
So another subscriber wrote, like I forgot. Yeah, if one policy change, it impacts a lot. He wrote about Trump. In fact, if Trump comes tomorrow, what will happen to upcoming batch of U.S. labor in workforce in U.S. But his topic is related to immigration. But it's a $40 trillion market. It impacts U.S. elections. Just doesn't impact U.S. market.
Yes.
It impacts global market.
Yes.
That's what his point is.
Yeah. So I'm not an economic expert, but Donald Trump and the Republican Party, they've historically been about U.S. labor and putting for example, Trump has been campaigning on 100% tariffs against Chinese goods. Whether or not that will happen, it's been clear that the Republican Party has always been kind of about prioritizing American goods over importing other goods. So that might actually open up some U.S. labor positions.
Like this, followers, right?
Yep.
I don't want to show his face on the camera. They watch my videos, and at the end they ask only one question: is recession on or not? So again, if we conclude our video, what is the message
So recession is not happening right
right
now.
now?
It's definitely not because the U.S.
But the
economy is still
person
growing
Vamsi
fast.
Mohan from Canada is writing
Yeah.
next 1.5 year is, US economy is a turbulent economy. Next 1.5 year, that means 2025 December, up to that recession will be there. Is it
Right.
true?
So it's anybody's call, but it all depends. Well, a lot of it depends on when the Federal Reserve will decrease interest rates,
Yeah.
because that is one of the
Indication.
main ways they influence the
So
economy.
right now there is no recession.
No, because the GDP is still growing,
Growing.
and inflation,
Yeah.
U.S. Hiring, unemployment is still above Federal Reserve targets.
Yeah.
But the Federal Reserve wants to see those decrease over time, because then they will know it's optimal time to decrease
Yeah.
interest rates.
Thank you. And
Thank
do you
you.
have any other points to communicate about recession topic, or let us end this video?
Well, like you said,
For the uh, Americans, anyway, they are following local news, right? But for Indians living, or any foreign nationals watching this video from outside US, like they want to resign their highly paid job in India and come to America on a worker visa.
right.
They write a question, sorry, is recession on, my employer is saying economy is down, so can I come by resign my job, like that. And the international students here and there also they're asking recession is on or not.
Right.
So
Right.
what is that message?
Right.
So
So
they need to resign the job and come here. That you may not be able to say yes, no, but
right.
for their two questions, how do you address?
Right. So recession is not on now, but when your employer says economy is down, that means the economy is expected. A lot of people expect the economy to enter recession, but that doesn't mean it's happening right now. But the
But it may
job,
be expected in the future. Correct?
yes, yes, but the job market is difficult right now for tech and finance. They're hiring much less, and you see this past year, everyone from Meta to like Duolingo, a lot of tech firms have done many layoffs, significant layoffs, and that's because of AI, but also their cost cutting. Like you saw right after 2022,
Yeah, correct.
all the major tech firms, they did significant layoffs. So the job market is a little tough for tech and
What about
finance.
people on F1 and OPT, CPT, worker visa, or H1B in inside US looking for jobs, or freshly entering the market? What is the message? Is recession is not there, but job market is down, right?
Right, right. Job market, why it's down is because during 2022, a lot of tech firms hired a lot.
of
They
people.
had a lot of fluff on their companies, so they did layoffs. And even now, in this high interest rate environment, it's expensive for companies to take on new projects and loans. And because they're not taking on new projects, they don't need as many software developers or programmers, so they don't hire as much. So yeah, if for F1 and H1 students, right, in US right now entering market, they might have to do some extra working, like do extra work for hiring than they typically would during a regular state of the economy.
Sure, thank you very much. And
Thank you.
if my followers demand, then you will sit in my chair.
No, no, no.
Okay,
Yep,
we'll
thank you.
switch off. Just wait.